This was a crazy weekend for college football. The slate of games wasn't as great in previous weeks, but you can argue this was the most exciting weekend we've had so far. There were a lot of winners that I talked about in yesterday's video, but there were also a lot of losers as well. Today, I'm going to be sharing the 10 biggest losers from week 4 of the college football season. Before we get to today's video, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are that you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. I'll be posting videos every day during the season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. Also, drop a comment down below and let me know who you think the biggest loser was from this weekend. I'd love to hear which team disappointed you guys the most. Arkansas fell to Texas A&M by only 2 points, but this is a game that they should have had. They had a chance at the very end, but missed a go-ahead field goal off the top of the upright. Although that miss was huge, it wasn't even the biggest play of the game. Earlier in the first half, the Razorbacks were on the 3-yard line. KJ Jefferson tried to leap in for a touchdown. If he would have gotten in, Arkansas would have been up 21-7 with a few minutes left in the first half. Instead, he lost the ball, and Texas A&M scooped it up and took it nearly 100 yards for the touchdown. They missed the PAT, but it was a 13-point swing to get them right back in the game and shift all the momentum to A&M. Without that play, I think Arkansas wins this game. Instead, they now have one loss with Alabama next week. Just like that, their SEC and potential playoff hopes take a massive hit. After an impressive start to the season that had them looking like a playoff team, Oklahoma was upset at home by Kansas State. I wouldn't necessarily call this an upset though, because this is the 3rd time in the last 4 years that the Sooners have fallen to the Wildcats. For some reason, they just have their number. Dillon Gabriel and the Oklahoma offense did everything they could to win and actually looked pretty solid, but the defense just had no answer for Adrian Martinez, who had the best game of his collegiate career. This was an Oklahoma defense I've talked about over the last few weeks, saying that it looked good enough to get them to the college football playoff potentially. Not only did their playoff hopes take a massive hit with this loss, they also took a tumble in the Big 12 standings as well, as there are now 6 teams ahead of them in the Big 12. The most embarrassing loss of the week, and potentially the season, goes to Miami. They hosted Middle Tennessee, where the Hurricanes were a 25-point favorite. This was a Middle Tennessee team that lost to James Madison by 37 points just a few weeks ago. Well, the Blue Raiders dominated from start to finish as they won by 14 points. Miami just looked awful in this game. Tyler Van Dyke was so bad that he got benched in favor of Jake Garcia. The Hurricanes couldn't do anything on the ground as they averaged just 1.5 yards a carry on 38 attempts. After climbing inside the top 15 in the rankings, Miami has now lost back-to-back games. It's one thing to lose to a group of 5 school, but to lose by 2 scores when you're a 25-point favorite is just insane. Like, I don't even know how you let that happen. Things are only going to get more difficult for Miami moving forward as they begin their ACC slate. Washington State had a win against Oregon locked up. They were up by 12 points with less than 4 minutes remaining, but somehow found a way to lose. After allowing a touchdown, letting Oregon cut the lead to 5, Washington State went 3 and out and didn't even take any time off the clock. They gave the ball back to the Ducks with 3 minutes left. Oregon scored quickly, giving them the lead. Cameron Ward then threw a pick 6, giving Oregon their 3rd touchdown in under 3 minutes. The Cougars outplayed the Ducks for about 56 minutes of this game. Unfortunately, their collapse in the final 4 minutes cost them the win. This would have gotten Washington State ranked inside the top 25 and would have given them a really strong chance to compete in the Pac-12 this season, but this collapse cost them both of those things. It looked like things were on track for Texas, who had a really nice win last week against UTSA. They led Texas Tech by 10 points at the half, and it looked like they were going to start Big 12 play with a victory. Well, they blew their second half lead and fell in overtime to the Red Raiders. A turnover from Bijan Robinson in overtime allowed Texas Tech to kick a field goal to win the game. After a promising start to the season, the Longhorns are now 2-2 on the year and find themselves 0-1 in Big 12 play. The Big 12 is looking pretty competitive as the Longhorns have a number of ranked matchups still on their schedule. Dropping this game that they should have won could likely be what keeps them out of the Big 12 title game. After being nearly ranked inside the top 10, Michigan State has now dropped back-to-back games in which they looked terrible. They got completely outplayed by Minnesota this week on both sides of the ball. Had it not been for a last-second touchdown, this should have been a game they lost 34-0. Peyton Thorne just hasn't looked like a great quarterback, and the rushing attack for the Spartans has been non-existent. Also, their defense has been just horrendous over the last few games as well. The only 2 wins Michigan State has this season came against Western Michigan and Akron, so not the toughest competition exactly. Now that they're starting Big Ten play, things might get very ugly for the Spartans. After they started 8-0 last season, Michigan State has now gone 5-4 since. After a 2-week stretch of maybe the best games in Appalachian State history, they were on the verge of adding a third. They were up 28-3 over James Madison and looked like they'd be the first team to move to 2-0 in Sun Belt play. Only problem was that they blew a 28-3 lead and lost to the Dukes. After a touchdown with 6 minutes left in the second quarter, Appalachian State didn't score the rest of the way. After that touchdown, the Mountaineers had a fumble, turnover on downs, 3 straight punts, an interception, another punt, and another turnover on downs. Literally everything that could go wrong went wrong for App State. Their offense couldn't do anything, and their defense couldn't stop James Madison at all. I know there are some painful ways to lose, as we've talked about in today's video, but blowing a 25-point lead has to be near the top. Missouri just kept finding ways to lose this game, yet they constantly had chances to beat Auburn. When looking at the box score and seeing that they lost by only 3 points on the road, you probably think nothing of it. But the amount of times Missouri blew chances was truly unreal. Here's how the Tigers lost the game in the final minutes. Their kicker Harrison Mevis missed a 26-yard field goal attempt as time expired that would have won the game. As if that wasn't bad enough, here's what happened in overtime. Auburn missed a field goal in its initial overtime possession, but a Missouri offsides call gave Carlson another kick in which he nailed from 40 yards. Then, Nathaniel Pete dropped the would-be game-winning touchdown on a breakaway run. He would have scored the touchdown, but Pete reached for the goal line with one hand and dropped it, as Auburn recovered it to win the game. It really is amazing talking about the losers from this week, because it seems like every game we talk about, a team finds a new way to lose somehow. A week after losing at home to Southern Illinois, Northwestern fell to Miami, Ohio via a game-winning field goal. This was the first Big Ten team to lose to the Redhawks since 2003, when Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback. This now makes back-to-back embarrassing losses for Northwestern at home, who look like they're in store for a long season in the Big Ten. Luckily, they were somehow able to get a win back in Week 1 against Nebraska, but they seriously might not win a game the rest of the season. Georgia Tech wasn't expected to win this game, so it's tough to really call them a loser, as they were a 21-point underdog that fell by only 17 points. But it officially ended the Jeff Collins era. The Yellow Jackets are now 1-3 on the season, with their lone win coming against Western Carolina. In 3 games against FBS opponents this year, they've been outscored 110-20. This team just has no life, and they look like one of the worst Power 5 programs in the entire country. Well, those are my 10 losers from this weekend. Which team do you think was the biggest loser overall from Week 4? Was there a team that really disappointed you that should have been on this list? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, this is definitely the place for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'll be posting videos every day during the season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, make sure to drop a like as well. It helps with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.